Would you believe it is Monday? Guess what I didn't do? I didn't turn on the microphone. I'm a moron. Congratulations. Set up the lights, set up the backdrop, got dressed, combed my hair, went over my thoughts, did everything but turn on the damn microphone. It's definitely Monday. I got a whole cool intro there. I said the most clever shit I've ever said in my life. It was pure genius, comedic gold, and I didn't have the microphone on. I mean, I said the kind of stuff that would make a man famous in one line, and I didn't have the microphone on. Wouldn't that be the look? And now, I'm drawing a blank. As usual. How are you this fine, wonderful day, as we sit at the bottom of the ocean in my personal submersible? Yeah, I'll probably be at the airport when my ship comes in. My ship will probably knock my coffin off of its rails as they're saying my eulogy. That will be okay with me, though. At least I made it. I'm fantastic. I still have no voice, but I feel great. I mean, all things considered. I'm reckoning that the devil's trying to keep my mouth shut. Why else would I lose my voice at the very moment I started my penultimate act? Don't we know it? It's been a nice day. It hasn't rained a whole lot. It's been sunny, warm. I slept a lot. I bought me a new pair of pants. And if you know me, that's like, he bought a pair of pants. I'm still working on the 3 I've had since I was 14. If he wanted me to listen, he would not have given me a microphone. I don't think that's the case. I'm born, literally born knowing things that I didn't learn, understanding concepts that most adults don't understand, grasping things like physics and the way the world is put together. I've led my whole life avoiding the urge to research and learn. And every step of the way, being pushed by some unseen force in the direction of the thing that I do. And then I finally decide to do a podcast about the Bible, and I lose my voice. I don't think it's God doing that. Of course, I don't think it's the devil doing that either. I think it's a lot of hard drinking and smoking. And a lot of this, which you can't see because it's the same color as my green screen, but you know what I mean. But it's nice to blame somebody other than yourself, I think. Yeah, I drink Mountain Dew like an alcoholic because I don't drink alcohol. And, but I'm an alcoholic, if that makes any sense. Excuse me. trying to clear the pipe so I can actually make sound with my throat muscles. I don't know, I have this thirst. I always have. And I associate it with being an alcoholic because that's the way I picture alcoholics being. But I don't drink alcohol. Never have been much of a drinker. I tried to drink in my 20s, but I got sick every time I did it, so it's not for me. So I sell alcohol instead. And don't let anybody fool you. That's what my job is. I sell alcohol. I sell fun. When I go to a club, that's my job, is to make people want to drink. So it has nothing to do with talent or me being there or anything like that. I know that's the image that I put out because that's the persona and that's the gig, but that's not the truth of the matter. It's all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors. I like this format a little bit better because it's actually me talking to you. You don't get that at a show. You get Jake Johnson talking to you at a show. Not the same guy. And I've tried to explain this to some of my kinfolks in the past, and they were quite dismayed that I wasn't having the time of my life every single time they saw me having the time of my life. It bothered them tremendously. I think you know who I'm talking about. Somebody you're closely related to, like One Down. Anyway, I tried to tell them that my job was to make you feel like you're having the time of your life, not to make you think I'm having the time of mine. So when I'm behind the stage where the real world is, other things are going on. You know, I may have just lost my mother, which occurred at one point. I may have just got out of jail. I may have the flu. I may not have a voice, but I still have to figure out a way to be a face that makes you have a good time. And so when I walk out on the stage and the lights hit my face, there's a big smile on it, and I'm having the best time of my life because that's what my job is. And she's like, no. I was there. I saw you. I know what was. No, you don't. You know what I showed you because that's the gig. And if you're going to come with me behind the scenes and hang out with me, you have to know what's up, you know, because you're no longer in the crowd. Now you're back here with us. And things are different on this side of the speakers. Yeah, I know you get it because you were in that world for a little while. But she didn't get it at all. Was upset to find out that the people that she grew up loving, like Leonard Skinner or whoever, were just doing a job. It's just a job, you know. It's a 9 to 5, but it's more. And when the show's over, you're spent like a wet noodle. There's nothing left. You gave it all, you know. And then the recovery starts somewhere about 30 minutes after the truck closes. And that lasts up till about noon the next day, I would say. Quite an interesting culture shock to see that on both sides and be able to understand what's happening. Because I never looked at it like that before because I've always done this. I've never actually done that. You know, I've been to like 2 concerts in my whole life where I was in the audience and not the headliner. It's not hard. It's just different. You know, it's no harder than being a waitress or a ditch digger. I mean, in some ways it is. You have different pressures, you know. If you're a waitress, your pressure is to get the food out on time and to be polite and to make your tips and all that. Where it's more like being an athlete than that. You have to be in shape. You have to have good cardio. And you have to be able to sweat profusely for 4 hours and not die. That's a big plus. Hence the drinking. And you have to be able to keep your energy level up above 11 constantly the entire time, even when you're exhausted, which is why you can't hardly do this job without ending up on drugs, because there's just not that much energy in a human body. And if you've got shows, if you book 250 shows a year and you've got to do that every night, something at some point is going to have to take over, because you don't have any more. And there's been more than one guy fall by the wayside in that problem. But it also has its rewards. There's nothing in the world like it. It's better than any drug you'll ever take. It's better than sex. It's better than alcohol. It's better than food. When you reach a point, and I don't know if I can explain this without sounding arrogant or cocky, but you just have to try and place yourself in this situation. A person, this comes from a movie, but it's true. A person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky, and scared, and they move in a herd. And they have like a mentality of a group. They have a singular mentality. And when you get to a point, it's almost like hypnotism. It's the rhythm of your voice. It's the pitch, the veracity in which you say words, the cadence and the rhythm and the way that you move. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but something otherworldly occurs. It's different. It's unique. And then you feel elevated, like you swell, and you become this other thing. It's not who you are every day. It's something else. Every word that comes out of your mouth is right. Every chord you hit lands. Every note you play is perfect. And the crowd starts to react to you. It responds to you like you're touching it, with your soul. And these two things connect. And it's almost like you're in control to a certain degree. And you can make them do anything you want them to do. You can make them scream. You can bring them down. You can bring the energy up. You can make them dance. You can make them do all kinds. I've had people doing all kinds of things. I've had 20 naked people on stage before. Naked in a full view of everybody. 300 people in the room. There's 20 people on stage that are butt-ass naked because I told them to get naked, and they did it. Kind of like being a puppet master. They're like a marionette, yeah. But that you have to achieve that. I think musicians call it falling in the groove. It happens all the time where a group of people sync up and become simpatico, and then all of a sudden everybody's working on one wavelength. Well, it happens in a whole room of people also. And if you're the guy doing it, it is otherworldly. There's nothing else in the world like it. And even if it only happens once a year, it's enough to make you keep trying to get back to that place again for that entire year. Every dead show, every empty room, nothing. Let's just get back to that big show that we can do, It's amazing. And so that's why people keep doing it, even when they know they've lost, even when they know it's over. That's why guys like me will go to their graves pretending to be something, because they were once for a little while. Yeah, I don't tell a lot of people this, and I don't know that anybody does. But if I'm being honest, and it's hard to do, and I've heard other people be honest before, but it's very rare. But if you're being honest, they'll tell you that the thing that I'm producing didn't actually come from me. It's like something taps into me. Like a sculptor will tell you, if he's being honest, that he didn't sculpt anything. He just chipped away the rough edges, but the thing was already there in the rock. The Hindus call it the Akashic record, the record of all thoughts and all ideas are stored somewhere out there, and somehow they collectively come down and select certain people for certain things. I'm not sure that's how it works. But I do know that everybody in the world at one time decided to start building pyramids, and they never met each other. I do know that everybody in the world started building engines at the same time, and they didn't know each other, and nuclear weapons at the same time, and they didn't know each other. And yet the same idea propagates. And I do know that if you listen to a certain type of country song, you can find 13 or 14 other country songs that are exactly the same, almost the same song. And those people didn't know each other when they wrote those songs. It's just they all got the same idea at the same time. So it does come from somewhere. How that happens, I don't know. But I've been a part of it, and I've felt it, and I know that it's there. I don't know where it comes from, and I don't care, because I didn't do anything wrong to achieve it. And that's probably why I'm sitting here talking to you instead of out there on the road right now, because I've steered away from certain things. I never paid my soul for the ultimate thing, you know. And that does happen. And I can show you evidence of it happening. I can show you people who no longer have a soul, who are now controlled by something other than themselves. And I never let that happen. In fact, when I were close to the thing, and I have been so close I could taste it, I've been right there at it. I mean, I was so close to being famous, you just don't even know. I was hanging out with famous people, like they were calling me. It was right around the corner. I mean, if I'd have just moved a little further, I'd have been there. But for whatever reason, I stalled, and I just stayed where I was at, and then slowly nosedived. And now I'm here, starting something new. And I'll do this until I fall out. We'll see. But when I was in that place, I was faced with decisions that I could have made. I'll come up on a crossroads, do this and this will happen, but it'll cost you this kind of thing, you know. And I always chose against it because it didn't feel right. I'll give you an example. I went down, and nobody knows this that's ever, I hope that my band doesn't ever watch this episode, because I'm going to spill a secret that I've never told them. I went down to Atlanta, Georgia to play for Epic, Mercury, and Atlantic Records one time. It was a writers' convention in Atlanta, and we got VIP access to go. It was a very niche thing. It was very prestigious, and we were selected as one of the bands to get to go down there, and there was about 15 other bands there. And what they were doing were playing and vying for record contracts. And there were 3 record labels there watching all the acts. And we'd come in and you'd play your original stuff, and they would judge it, kind of like a talent show almost, but it wasn't a talent show. What they were doing was seeing who had the highest marks, and those are the people that they would select for a record contract. Well, come time for my band to get up, and we were staying in motels down there. I think Mama went with us. And we got up and we did our 3 songs or whatever it was. And I got down and I went to the table where all the guys were, and we talked. And they judged me, and I got high scores out of everything because, you know, I'm a great entertainer. And I write pretty good songs too. And I'd written some special stuff for that event. And the guys come back to me, and they said, I tell you what, we like you, and we're going to sign you. We're going to give you a record contract and give you a development deal. And what a development deal is they will give you a bonus, say $50,000, and a year to develop a product. And during that time, they will alter you and change you and coach you and put you in touch with the right people, and you can make a record. If at the end of that year the record is good, they'll sell it. If not, they'll drop you. but you have a development deal during that time. They do the same thing in movies and other things, TV shows and stuff. They said, but we only want you. The band is good, but they're not what we're looking for. We want you. And I thought, and I said, well, my mama always told me that if somebody wanted me, then they would come to me. I wouldn't have to go to them. And so I said, okay, but my band is part of me. They're what make me good. They're the sound that I have. It's the sound I built from the ground up. It's what I want to sound like. It's my art. I'll sign the contract, but my band goes or I don't. And I expected them to say, well, we'll call you in a couple of days. Let's talk about it. And I expected to get called in a couple of days and oh yeah, we'll take you. That call never came. 2 weeks later, 2 of my band members quit and went and joined another band. And I had just sacrificed my entire life for them and they didn't know it. And the other members of my band are on again, off again. Sometimes loyal and sometimes they abandon me. And then they come back later and we go in and out. This has been going on for 20 years now. But that was the second time in my life that I was offered a record contract and didn't take it because it wasn't right. Because they asked me to jeopardize my integrity. And at that time, I was dumb enough to think that integrity meant something. And I believed that loyalty was the most important thing. In retrospect, I should have just fired everybody and went to Nashville. But I didn't. I don't regret that because at the time I believed in what I was doing. Oh, I've had 3 offers. And I've been on a national television. And I've been on radio and local TV and magazines. I've been on radio. I've been live on the radio, which is something a lot of people don't have. However, none of that ever panned out to... I created a wave, and instead of making waves, that wave just crashed, and I rode it till it ended. I didn't get the momentum going that I wanted. I never could. I don't know if it's because I don't know anything about business, or I didn't have enough help, or what. I surmised that it was because I was stretched too thin and had no backup. But I'll never know for sure, and it doesn't matter because now I'm too old to worry about it. So close so many times, yep. And yes, that's what loyalty will get you. And being famous is very scary. And you should worry about it because you can't be famous without losing something. If you gain something, you will lose something. And there's just no way around that. It has happened before, but it's very rare. Most people that are famous, they gave up something to get there. And it's usually a lot more expensive than you think it is. Might be your life. Might be somebody else's life. I was never willing to pay that price. I hope you enjoyed that story. I've never told that to very many people. Yeah. I never wanted fame. I wanted respect. I wanted to be good at what I did. I wanted people to see it and know that I was good at it. I didn't care about fame, and I still don't. I would be perfectly happy being Jimmy Buffett famous. You know, I like the idea of being a big fish in a little pond. Hey, April, how are you, darling? Hey, 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 hey. Bop, bop, bop. And all the other tropes. But you know what they say, Darlene? A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And you never know what's around the bend. Right. Y'all hang on one second. I'll be right back. Stay right where you're at. Hey, Mr. Mercer, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Ran out of fluids there. If you're just joining us, I've been giving away trade secrets and telling all the mysteries. That one guy that wanted to take her to Vegas without me said she could go all the way, but hell no, she wasn't going with him without me. She would have ended up in his bed is where she would have ended up, and probably on film. Glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. I've been giving away trade secrets, talking about the mysteries of the deep. I chose the deep as a background because I intended to get into some hairy stuff, some deep dives into the awesomeness that is moi. How you doing, Mr. Mercer? Glad you could join us tonight. Man, your little red dress too. I'll tell you, I can't get no respect. Glad to hear it. You drive, April. Don't type, honey. You can type all you want when you get home. I'll be here. I'll wait on you. Keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel and keep it between the lines. Stop making smiley faces and hearts. You're scaring me. Great Sky Troll. What's happening, my brother? From another mother? Who's related to my mother? Other? You're in Aiden, Paladin. Well, I'm in Aiden, North Carolina. How about that? Same spelling, as a matter of fact. I'm actually in Snow Hill, but Aiden is where my house is. But it's got a Grifton address and a Greenville phone number, which is further than Winterville. Oddly enough. Oh yeah, I'm spitting fire and vinegar today. Y'all just don't know what kind of shit I've been spewing. And another thing. Makes no sense. Oh, you talking about my address situation? Well, that's how they did it. I don't know what they were thinking when they did it, but that's how they did it. The house is in Aiden, but it's got a Grifton address and a Greenville phone number. And my front yard is in Greene County, and my backyard is in Pitt County. Well, that sounds very complicated, Great Sky Troll. I have no idea what any of those words mean. statistical analytics and varicose metabeta storks. What is that? Is that one of them ladies that cuts out all those coupons in those magazines all the time? Anyway, I'm glad you're here. If you want the deep dish, now's the time to find out. 'Cause I'm in that kind of mood. It's a nighttime kind of thing. I'm feeling froggy, and I might jump. It's difficult, but she analyzes huge volumes of studies to see the relationship. I know what it means. I was joking with you. I'd be interested to see her work. What is she working on? I mean, I know what a paladin is. I'm assuming this is a video game stuff. Hi, Jake Johnson. Have you met me? It's good to be here. Good to be telling stories with my friends. What else would you like to know? Would you like to know what I did when I was 14 years old? Or when I was 7? Would you like to hear the legend of Wylder Creek? Well, first, there was the dinosaurs. And they got really big and made lots of oil. I'm guessing you don't want me to go that far back. The fish are swimming through my water bottle. Ooh, how do you know I'm not drinking fish? That's a Mountain Dew bottle. It's the same color as my screen. That's why you can't see it. And I can never wear a green shirt. It is not a game thing. Well, I'd be very interested to read some of her data, statistically speaking. Is this a friend of yours or a girlfriend or a buddy or what? What do we got going on here? Are you laying the pipe? Tell me about it. Don't tease me. I must know. I'm surrounded by big black fish. I'm starting to get a complex. So, just a YouTuber does long form content. Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. And growing slowly but surely. I'd be growing a lot faster if I had a voice, though. That would be nice. Said, you got to find your voice. And I said, but I lost it. Got to figure out who you are. What kind of YouTuber are you? They say. Well, I'm just a guy. I just talk shit. And I'm pretty good at it. And I could be better at it if I wasn't so lazy. And if I had a producer, But I'm nice to look at, so that's half the battle. Easy on the eyes and all that. Old crooked head. So anyway, where was I? When I was 14, let's see. Let me find a good story. I once fell in love with this girl named Linda Evans. Not the Linda Evans you're thinking of, but one very close. And she lived in Bartow, Florida, which was about 20 so miles away from where I lived. Could have been a little further, I don't really remember. But I would walk to her house every day and home for like 6 months. I'd get out, I'd start walking about 9 o'clock at night, and I'd get there in the morning sometime, hang out at the local park until daylight, and just before her daddy left to go to work, I'd sneak into her bedroom window and spend about 20 minutes snuggling with her. Little did I know she was quite popular with the rest of the neighborhood, but at the time I was smitten. I mean, hands down, this was my girl. And we talked about getting married and moving in together, and I had a job at that time at a mattress factory, and I was living with a guy that was dating my cousin, big burly redneck dude with a big burly redneck truck, who got me the job, and I was sleeping in his trailer and working at this mattress factory. I think I was about 14. And so I saved up a little money, and I rented this condo, and we moved in, and we stayed there for a little while. But they were under construction, and it seemed like every day something was breaking, so we decided to move into a trailer. And we found this trailer in a little trailer park called, what was it? Frog Run or something Frog. Frog Run. Well, let's call it that. It's a little one-bedroom trailer. And I had just enough money to rent it, and we moved in together. And we were happy, and we were meeting the neighbors. Ribbit court, that may have been it. Something to do with a frog, anyway. Anyway, about 3 days after we moved in, I met some of the neighbors, and we were talking, and it was this nice-looking young man. He was a little older than me and a lot bigger than me, but he was cool, and he had a cool car. And so I invited him over for drinks. I was doing the cordial thing, you know. And when he came with about 9 of his friends. They all piled out of this big old long car that they pulled up in. And they were all hoodlums, and they were all big boys, twice my size. But they were funny and interesting to be around, and this was the first time I'd ever been around other people, you know. And at 14, yeah, I had a bottle of vodka, and we were drinking, and everybody was starting to get drunk. And then one guy started getting a little rowdy, and then the other guy started getting a little rowdy, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I asked them to leave, and they took offense to that. And so they started trashing my house, busting holes in the walls and scaring the shit out of the girl and me, quite frankly. I didn't know how to take it. I was flabbergasted because I'd never seen anybody act like that before. And so I took her into the back of the trailer, into the back room, and shut the door and just let them have it. And they destroyed that little trailer. And then they left. And when they left, when they pulled out, I ran out the back door to get their plates. And as I come back from getting their plates, I was going to call the police on them. The girl says, "I think I've had enough. I want you to call my daddy." And I said, We'll fix this, you know. We'll make it work. "Nope, I want to go home." And I said, "Okay." So I called her daddy, and he came and got her. And the next day, I moved out of the trailer, lost my deposit because the trailer was trashed. There's probably, truth be told, my mom probably loaned me some money to get in that trailer. So I lost that money, whatever it was. It wasn't cheap. Nobody had a lot of money back in those days. But that was just one foray into the daily life of Jake. I never saw those guys again. I think one of them died in a car crash years later. One or two of them. And they taught me a very valuable lesson about talking to strangers. Now, I would like to think that I was a man, because in those days I thought I was. I would like to think that I could have wrestled them out of my house and protected what was mine, but there was 9 of them and 1 of me, and they were all twice of me. And I was a little afraid. And I want to tell you that I've carried that guilt with me for the better part of 25 years or more, however long it was ago, that I was afraid and that I didn't stand up to those guys, knowing that I would have got my ass beat and I wouldn't have survived it because they were ready to rumble, and I was not that kind of guy back then. I had just started working and, trying to figure out what kind of man I was. Better part of valor. And it wasn't valor, it was fear. I was afraid. I was just a kid, but I didn't know I was a kid. I never knew that I was a kid. I was a grown man from the time I was walking. And that was a very interesting moment in my life. Lost a good-looking girlfriend, too. She was quite the looker. He who quickly runs away lives to run another day. I suppose I didn't actually run away. I just protected my girlfriend by taking her in the back. I kind of figured they'd bust through the door at any minute and beat the hell out of me because I was kind of used to getting my ass beaten those days. But they never did. They didn't attack me. They just destroyed my house. But I was expecting it the whole time. I just sat there with her on the bed, holding her, saying, just sit here a little longer. It'll be over in a minute. But I was terrified, obviously. I've never been so ashamed of myself in my life. One other time I can think of. But I was ashamed that I didn't do something. Part of the reason I got a chip on my shoulder now, I would imagine. But you must understand that I grew up in a world where the first thing I knew was running for my life. I don't think you appreciate that. And there's only one person here that is close to that story, and that would be Great Sky Troll, because he was the next door neighbor of the guy chasing me. And I don't think he knows the whole story. But I ran for my life for the first 5-6 years of my life. And my life is starting after my surgery at the age of 6. That's anything before that, my memory gets very foggy because the medicine they gave me messed up my brain. And so I have still images of things that happened before that, but nothing concrete, no vivid memories. I have a vivid memory of when I was 6 months old. I have another vivid memory when I was about a year old, and that's it. And otherwise, I have almost total recall. I can remember almost everything. But look, bruh, I've been beat down by 6 people. It's uncool. Yes, it's not cool at all. Running is my first ability I choose in all games. I hear you. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you so you'd get a little insight into what makes me tick. Who was I running from? My father. You were there. What do you mean, who was I running from? We ran to you. We came to your house first. You don't remember all of those years of us picking up, moving in the middle of the night and hiding out in God knows what little camper trailer for 2 or 3 days with no power because we didn't know where we were going to go next? Getting a letter or getting a phone call and hauling ass because somebody was on the way? Yeah, you came to get us. That's right. I do remember that. Actually, it was my cousin Tammy who came to the house to get us and took us to the Crawfords. And from there, y'all picked us up. But I remember being in that big blue car, pulling out of my driveway and turning left and going around the bend this way as my father's truck came around the bend this way. And I know he saw that car, but he didn't know we were in it. Because my father was the kind of man that paid attention to the traffic. He could hear a car and tell you who was driving it. Because in those days, there was only 7 kinds of cars, and he knew them all. And he was quite paranoid. So he left for work, and we hauled ass and packed a few things, and Tammy pulled up, my cousin, and we jumped in her car and left. And as we were pulling out, he was pulling in because it was raining. He got to the end of the road and turned around and came back home is what happened. He got rained out and decided not to go to work that day. And we missed him by that much. And had he caught us, I might not be here to talk to you about it today. Y'all were at someone's from churches. It was the Crawfords. I forget their first names now. But they took us in and hid us until somebody, I guess it was you. I thought it was Grandma that came and got us, but you must have been with her. And I'm just a little over 6 years old. I don't remember exactly how old I was. I was in the first grade, so however old that is. And the funny thing is that night I was supposed to spend the night off with a friend of mine, the first time I ever left my house to go to somebody else's house to spend the night away from my parents. And his name was Chris Moore, and he had 2 fingers missing. And I rode the school bus with him, and he was my buddy. And you might actually know this guy, Great Sky Troll. I reached out to him a couple of times as an adult, but he never hit me back, so clearly he doesn't remember me. But I remember him. And I had a little blue suitcase packed. I was going to go spend the night with him. I was going to get off the school bus at his house after school. And my mom sat down on the bed beside me, and she said, "Look, son, this is going to be difficult. And I know that you love your father, but you have a choice to make. You can either stay here and go to school and everything will be fine, or you can come with me. But I'm leaving." And I said, "I'm going with you. Are you crazy?" And that was the defining moment of my life, I guess. Chris Morris, that's right. And didn't I say that? He's around here. I think he's still in the same place. There's still a place there where his house was. The last time I was there, anyway. I never did break up the courage to stop there and ask for him, but I mean, that would have been weird, right? Somebody you knew in first grade but hadn't seen since. You're going to stop and talk to a total stranger. I mean, we were best friends then, but what does that mean? We knew each other on the school bus. That was it. I don't even know what kind of personality that guy has. I don't know anything about him. I just know that he had 2 fingers missing, these 2. Slammed it in a gate when he was a kid and cut them off. Man, that's a long time ago. I don't know what made me think of that. I guess the leaving part. But, I mean, it was hair-raising. I was looking out the back window and could see my father's face in his truck as he came around the bend and pulled into the driveway as we went around the other bend going out towards Oconee Road, whatever. I can't remember the number. It's not 64. I can't remember you know which road I'm talking about. Down at the other end of the branch. Turning left out of where we lived. And then we went through Oconee and went up on that long road that goes out towards Sandersville, and there was a little trailer out there we stopped at. 272, that's the one. And we stopped at, and there was a long concrete patio and a little trailer with a Florida room that had a bunch of antique whatnots in it. And she gave me a little teddy bear that presumably I still have to this day. And that's quite a vivid memory I have. So that being the first thing I remember clearly was running. "Hey, Kev, what's happening, buddy? Steak was delicious, thank you." Delicious. got a new pair of pants out of it. That's something. So, running was the first thing I learned. Protect and cover, don't be seen by the bad guy. Several times during that period in my life, we would see a shadow and know he was outside, and we'd hide until he left, and then we'd leave. Or somebody would meet him at the county line and chase him out of town because they got wind that he was coming and knew what he was in. One time, I am not making this up. This is the story I got. I was not there to witness it, so I don't know if it's true or not, but I swear to God, this is the story I was told. One time, my father came to town with 2 hookers, presumably hookers, dressed in drag, dressed like a woman, wig, dress, the whole 9 yards. Went to a bar that one of my aunts worked at, hung out there for a while, and then left. And then wrote a letter to my mom talking about he had woven himself into the snake's den and was unseen. But naturally, my aunt saw him as soon as he walked in the door, knew who he was, and then called immediately and alerted us he was in town. But apparently that happened. And so I don't feel so ashamed about what happened to me, because I've never been that low. I did wear a wig once, but it was in comedy, in the service of comedy. Lightning up by 2. If they win, they are in the Stanley Cup champions. They are the Stanley Cup champions. Congratulations. Hope they win. If they lose, they go to Game 7. Go Bolts. Remember the burnt letters. That's the letters I'm talking about. They would have burnt, like cigarette burnt, upside down crosses, and they would be including pictures of my family with bullseyes drawn on them and little letters written like, I'm coming to get you, and when I leave, you'll lose part of your family too, or shit like that, Wicked, mean letters, things you wouldn't ever imagine. I don't think I still have them. I think they got lost in the flood, but I used to have them. And I've read some of them, and they were terrifying. So that was the first part of my life. He was in a van with a bear skull on the grill, probably. Not like you'll mistake it for some other van with a bear skull, right? Yeah, it was a scary time. And when the divorce was finalized between him and my mom, and they had to go to court, and they knew that he was going to be in court. Mom had met my stepdad by that time, and he was with her, and I think her sisters were with her. And somebody asked my mom, are you scared? Because he was supposed to be there. He never showed up, but she said, somebody asked her, are you scared? And she said, no, I'm not scared. And she opened her purse, and there was a pistol in her purse. And the person that said, are you scared, opened their purse, and there was a pistol in her purse. And then my stepdad, pulled out his pistol, showed it. There was like 5 people in that room that were packing, waiting for his ass to come in and start some shit. That was back before you couldn't go into a courthouse with a gun. That's how old I am, by the way. Can I sing CJ a song? Yes, I can. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. Go to sleep, you little bastard. That help? Just joking about the bastard thing. Don't lock up crazy. We give it a drink and a pistol. Chill on the porch. Amen. So anyway, that was my dad. I didn't know him that well, but I wish I did. I wish I could have known what made him tick, what kind of person he was, other than the, distraught guy who lost his family, which I know something about now. I did not know then. Did not understand his motivations then. But I know a little bit about the thoughts that went through his head now. And let's just say I can relate. I know he's not. I was just teasing. He's an alien. I was just joking. I've never met CJ, but I love him. He's family. You got to understand my sense of humor. That's funny as shit to me. I call myself a bastard all the time, and I've had 2 dads. In more. He's a powerhouse. He's great. I'd love to meet him. In more what, April? I didn't catch that. Oh, can you sing a song more? I got you. I'm doing the best I can do to talk, honey. Let me see what I can do for you. Think about a lullaby. Think about a lullaby. Baby, close your eyes, don't cry. Think about a lullaby. You can count your little sheep, but baby, you got to go to sleep. You're safe here with your mom and I. Think about a lullaby. Think about a lullaby. Baby, close your eyes, don't cry. Think about a lullaby. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the sky, I don't know the song, like a diamond in the sky. Fuck it, I'm not doing it. Hold on. What's that other one? The Sunshine one? The song, that is on all the movies, a creepy song. It's about sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, when I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Now stop making me sing, I'm dying here. All right, that's what you get. Folks, CJ is not a George Michael, not a Boy George fan. He likes Jones, Jackson, and Cash. Well, he's got good taste. Folks, in the vast quantities of sinewed fibers and the distance and the magnitude of the magnificence of my brain and the wisdom that comes from the farthest reaches of the galaxy, I've come to a conclusion. I really have to pee. So enjoy this little ditty and I'll be right back. And I'm back. Just as sure as this old heart of mine, and then someday, I can't remember the words, I'm making this shit up. Honey, I'll walk the line. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds, because you are mine. Honey, I walk the line, just as sure as night becomes a day. I go crazy with your memory anyway. And then one day I'll be true, because you are mine. Honey, I walk the line. That's all you get. Little Johnny Cash. Yes, everything came out all right. Smelled a little bit like Sugar Smacks, and had a little orange tinge to it. But other than that, it's great. Pungent. And Uncle Jake. Ha ha ha. I like it. You're welcome, darling. Sorry I sound like Kermit the Frog on crack rock. My other phone died. Well, you got two phones? I got two phones. TMI. I was asked a question. I'm going to give you an answer. If you can't handle it, don't ask. I'm anything but shy. There is no shame in me, I promise. Well, yeah, same with me. Both of mine are just in it. No, One of them belongs to a friend of mine, but I use it. And the other one's just internet. No. You know I'm teasing you. I ain't bashful, but I ain't serious either. When I'm serious, I'm as serious as a snake bite, and you know it. Every other time, I'm bullshitting. Serious as a snake bite. I like that. Might be my next song. I need to write that line down. Oh, God, I wish I could sing you guys a couple good songs. I'm so close. I'm almost there. I'm almost out of the woods, but it's just not, my top end ain't there. I can sing some bass. I can do, giddy up, bop, mow, mow. Giddy up, bop, mow, mow. Hi, old silver, away. Y'all ain't getting bored of the stories, are you? Trying to be a good storyteller here. Trying to pick some real dramatic shit out of the real core of my soul for your entertainment. And y'all want me to sing Johnny Cash. I feel terrible. Know that everything I've told you is absolutely 100% true and not embellished in any way whatsoever. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Uh-huh. Said I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. Said I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, she's my baby. She's my love. Man. Said I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Yeah, yeah. Terrible. It's terrible. Kermit the Frog choking on a glass pipe. Not good. There's a spot in my throat that burns when I talk. I think it's bad, but I won't know until I stop feeling this way. Or not. That's too much information, sorry. On a lighter note, 2 Jews walk into a bar and the other one ducked. What do you guys want to talk about? Enough about me. Let's talk about me. Me! But more importantly, me. You might need to see Dr. Jake, really. Nah. I don't want to know. Dreading it's worse than doing it. What happened at 7? 7 years of age? That was 7. That last story I told you, that was about then. 6. Well, a little further back, 5. I was at Great Sky Troll's house before Great Sky Troll was born, or he had just been born. I mean, it was right there in that time. And my cousins were all there, and they were jumping from, there was a bunch of crates in the yard for whatever reason, I don't know. They had hogs and stuff. And we were jumping from crate to crate, and I was the littlest one. And so all the bigger kids would jump off of this crate and roll down the bottom of a hill. And so I followed him. And when I jumped off the crate, I landed square on a lawnmower motor, broke my collarbone. Only nobody knew about it. And then for about 3 days, every time my mom would change my shirt, I would go like that when she lifted my arm. I never cried. I never made a fuss. But she got to feeling around and noticed that that wasn't right. So she took me to a doctor. And there they diagnosed me with a disease called Sprengel scoliosis. And what that is the same thing as Hunchback from Notre Dame. If you've ever seen that movie, that's the same disease. So what they did was they had a large consult, and they got 5 doctors from all over the world, India and Australia, Texas, and several other places. And they all flew in from all over the world and worked on me for free because this is the first time they'd ever had that case. They took pictures of it, and that was the condition. They would do the surgery for free, but they'd get to take pictures. So I'm in all the medical books concerning this disease, or at least I was. I don't know if I still am or not. They probably have some other guys now, but at that time, there was only 2 people in the world with this disease, and the other one just died. So it was me. And so they did surgery on me. I was about 6 years old then. I was 5. I would turn 6 in the hospital. I had my 6th birthday on the 6th floor of Talmadge Hospital, which is now Georgia Medical College. The same floor that my Aunt Levin was on 25 years later, and I went to visit her, and when the elevator doors opened and I got a whiff of the room, I knew exactly where we were, and I told my mom, and I took her straight to the room where I was at 6 years old. You didn't know all that? Yes, ma'am. And anyway, they shaved my collarbone, and they cut me from the top of my head to the bottom of my waist. And they took my muscles out under here, these wing muscles, and attached them to pull me straight. And they broke my collarbones and reset them, and did something with my ribs, and I got a nice gash across here from it. That was my 2nd major surgery. The first was double hernia. I was 6 months old. I had a double hernia. My intestines fell down into my testicles. So they had to go and put wire mesh to hold my guts up. So I got a nice big gash across the waist there. And then I had lung surgery when I was 18 years old, where they cut this much of my lung up top lobe off. So I got a nice gash across here and a couple of puncture holes where the tubes were. So I'm a walking mistake. I'm a throwaway baby. When they did my surgery when I was 6 years old, the prognosis was this. I was sitting there when they told my mom, and I remember it to this day. They said exactly this. It was the Australian guy that was doing the talking. And he said, listen, sorry. He said, listen, if he does not have the surgery, he will be dead by the time he's 16. His body will crush itself, and eventually his heart will stop beating, and he won't be able to breathe, and he'll die. And he'll be in agonizing pain. If we do the surgery, he might make 25, but he'll be in a lot less pain. And so my mom said, well, do the surgery. Give him what kind of life you can give him. They said I would be dead at 25. I'm now pushing 47. I've outlived myself twice. Take that, whomever did it. Damn, look behind you. Stingray! It's the most dangerous animal on the planet. I'm going to poke it with a stick. Too soon? Kevin says, okay, I would like to be appointed the official sports announcer for the Jake Johnson Band podcast. Lightening up 2-0 at the end of the 2nd period. I dub thee sports announcer. I'm home. I wait for it. I shall give it to you. Dang, you're a walking mirror. I'm a walking something. I don't know about a miracle. That's not the reason I told you the story. It's just true. I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything. Look at what you did. I didn't do anything. I just kept living. It's had its ups and downs. I'm addicted to painkillers, that sort of thing. But I'm alive and I'm happy. Can't you see the happiness in my eyes? I've got a wonderful wife who loves me and beautiful children. Oh, wait, that's you. I'm the guitar player guy. Sorry, I wasn't able to talk. I just got home. Me getting stuff out of the car, okay? Okay. Just beaming. I never knew all that. A lot of people never knew all that. I don't talk about it a whole lot. I'm in a mood tonight. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come off as depressed. I'm just trying to tell stories, but I'm in a strange mood, and this is what's coming out. So take it or leave it. I feel a long one coming on. Because clearly, I got some stuff to talk about. How are you, though? What you got in the bag? What's in the bag? Stick with me, kid. I'll tell you some things. Lay it on us. I'm trying. I once jumped out of a tree with a water hose tied around my waist, 80 feet up, and landed headfirst in the dirt. Knocked myself out cold. Woke up hanging from the waist with my feet up in the air and my head on the ground. Climbed back up the tree, tied 3 knots in the rubber hose, and jumped again. And knocked myself out again. I did that until I didn't knock myself out. It's great. I love it. I love you. I love it, and I love you too. You see my eyes? Take a good look. Notice how crooked they are and how one of them kind of turns in. There's a reason for that. When I was about 4 years old, I was at my granny's house. She used to live by an airport. And there was a little sock that always hung in the wind. It was something else, but it looked like a sock to me. It's one of those things that guides airplanes. And she had a big yard and a plum tree. And under that plum tree was a piece of plywood laying on the ground. And I climbed that plum tree, and I was hanging upside down on one of the limbs, and the limb broke, and I hit head first on that piece of plywood and knocked my eye crooked. The rest is from having a broken nose. That's why my glasses sit funny. I had probably 3 major head traumas before the age of 5. One time I was climbing up a chest of drawers, and it turned over on me, and I hit the ground. One time I jumped from my bed to my sister's bed and hit her bedpost and busted my eye socket, and I still got a loose bone in there right now. I can feel it every now and then. But the kicker, here's the best part. I was about 4 months old. We were at Durwood Johnson's house. If he's still alive, Great Sky Troll, ask him about this. So you know I ain't bullshitting you. I guess it was his daughter. Is Loretta his daughter? The name Loretta sticking in my head, or does he have a daughter? There was a girl there, and my sister, and they were playing dolls. And then there was me. And they had this little baby carriage that was made for a doll. You know, one of those little things you buy at Walmart's made out of tin and got the little piece of cloth in it, and you put your baby doll in it and push it around with the little upturned handles. One of those. And we were out in his carport, and they were pushing me in this thing back and forth across the carport. And one would catch me and turn it around and push me to the other one. Well, my sister pushed me, and the thing folded up and tipped over. And when it did, my head hit the ground like a concrete block. Whack! Knocked me into a coma. They said I was out for 16 hours. They thought I died. And I was like convulsing and shit. 16 hours I was unconscious, which means I was in a coma for a little while. And I survived that. I still had a soft spot on the top of my head. I was still an infant. Don't know how I survived it, but I did. Ask Durwood about that if you get the chance. I'd like to know if he remembers it. My sister remembers it. She'll tell you about it. She thought she killed her brother. She will never forget it. They said it sounded like a watermelon hitting the ground. I guess he did. You just imagine an infant hitting the ground and sounding like a watermelon. Thunk. That's not good. There's a disease called CTE that football players get. It's brain trauma. And I'm pretty certain I have it. That's why all those football players end up beating their wives up and killing people and stuff because they go crazy. And it's from being hit in the head. And I've been hit in the head several times very hard. So I'm pretty sure I have it. I'm not diagnosed or anything. I just pretty sure I'm brain dead. Or maybe that's the source of my genuine genius, which is useless. It used to piss my stepdad off beyond belief when I told him I was a genius because I score high on the genius mark. I have an IQ that compares with Einstein's. Here's the thing you don't understand about genius. It's not always math. Understand that. There's all kinds of intellect. Einstein was a mathematical genius. Nikola Tesla was an engineering genius. Jake Johnson is a random bullshit genius. I just happen to know some random ass shit. And I know a lot of it, and I remember a lot. That's where my genius lies. It's useless. It will never do anything for me. I'm not winning any Nobel Peace Prizes or anything. I'm not writing any badass papers. But I just do. I'm just good enough to carry on a decent conversation about random things. But in his mind, genius meant I'm better than you. And he hated it. And he'd get so mad at me. And he'd browbeat me endlessly for it. But I'd tell him every time, I'm a genius. Don't you listen to me, I'm a genius. And I did it to piss him off. Never knew about your life isn't over yet. No, it's not. Yet. Not as long as I have a microphone and the truth. 3 chords. 3 chords and the truth. Yep. Aren't I just fascinating? I hope you guys are enjoying these stories. I'm just coming up with stuff that's happened at this point. All the girls I've loved, some in a glance, Some I moved in with. Yes, sometimes, what does that mean? Elaborate. Sometimes, but? Is that what you're trying to say? Sometimes, but? You run your mouth a little too much? I'm guessing. Not a mind reader. Though sometimes I am. I recognize patterns. That's not exactly the same as reading minds. But don't lie to me, because I can tell. Didn't mean to be. So you enjoy the story sometimes? Is that what you were responding to? Never would. CJ is here, and he is sleeping like an angel on our couch. That is so sweet. I miss having babies. I love babies. It's when they start talking that I can't stand the little sons of bitches. I'm just kidding. When you're not talking about crap like TV and movies. Do I do that? I'm not even aware of that. And if I do, I apologize. I didn't realize I'd said anything about movies and TV. Are you talking about like using expressions from TV shows and things like that? Oh, I did last week about all the things I don't notice. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, every conversation can't be a winner. I've got to cover the gambit, and I can't talk about the same thing every time, so I have to come up with something to talk about. The things that normal people don't notice. Yeah. April is here and getting ready to eat and listen to Cousin Jake. Yee-haw. Well, the good thing is I'm a wide variety entertainer, and if you don't like what I'm doing, just hang out. I'll get to you eventually, and I'll do something that you like sooner or later. Some people do like comparisons to reality from movies, and there's a lot of it. I won't go into it because you don't like it. She looks hot. That's from my point of view. I agree. It's a nice man you got there, April. It's fascinating to me when I start seeing things that are right there in front of your face and you don't see them. Blows me away. Yeah. Well, all you got to do is tell me what you are interested in, and I'll do my best. Because my job is to make you happy, whatever that means. You want to see my nipples? I'm not bashful. I'm not dressed up right now. I haven't even shaved. If I shave, look out. Your knees will start knocking. You're just jealous because my hair's prettier than yours is. You think you've seen them before? Probably so. Probably seen my ass too. God knows I've shown it enough in my life. But so, I tell you these things because when you think of me, I want you to understand why I'm who I am and how I got there. And so it's important at some point for somebody to know me. And I'm a bit of a curmudgeon. I'm a misanthropic curmudgeon who doesn't do well with people. So this is my outlet. This is my buddies that I tell my war stories to. And it's important because at some point I'm not going to be here. And so sooner or later somebody will come across these videos and be like, oh, that's who that guy was. Now I understand. He has an attitude and a chip on his shoulders, but he earned it. Has every right to see himself the way he does. I earned it by the hard knock school. And when you think your life has been hard, and if you're out there and you're thinking about suicide because somebody said something mean on Twitter or whatever, just know that it can get harder, and you're really doing pretty good. Like, subscribe, share. Press the icon of the bell so that you'll get a notification. Follow one of the links in the description below. Buy a t-shirt, baseball cap. If you really want to support the Jake Johnson, go to paypal.me/Jake Johnson Band. That's my commercial, and I'm sticking to it. Type away, honey doll. I got nowhere else to be. I got a doctor's appointment at 9 in the morning, but other than that, I'm free. Sounds like a blues line. I ain't got nowhere else to be except the doctor's at 9, but right now I'm free. I am hard to understand, but I do understand you for the most part. Well, I'm glad you do. Not very many people do. What doctor? Back doctor. He is nice to you all. Who's nice to who all? You take that back. Look at that mane. Don't you wish you had one of these? I wear this as a self-defense mechanism in today's time. That way, if anybody ever gives me shit, I'll just flip it and go, you can't talk to a woman like that. And they can't say nothing. I'm like a cuttlefish, and this is my disguise. Does the back doctor help you? When he gives me enough drugs, he does. I do have a nice man, but it is not on my head. Oh, for the love of God. Maine. You're a lawyer. Do better. Mane. Is the same doctor? No. No, she was seeing some other. She was into chiropractors, and I don't believe in chiropractors. I think they're full of shit. I think it's hooey. I think if you want to crack your neck, you can just go and crack your neck. And that inevitably releases endorphins into your bloodstream, what makes you feel good for a few minutes. So you walk away going, oh, he really fixed me up. But tomorrow I'll be all stoved up and won't connect the dots. There you go. Bravo, sir. I'm proud of you. You're 58? Wow. You're a young man. Hey, my hair is gray. My hair's been turning gray since I turned 20. This is a dye job, baby. I'm not this handsome in real life. Yes. Yes, he does. Who do you keep saying is nice? I don't understand who you're talking about. Are you talking about God? Or me? Or Kevin? Or Great Sky Troll? Or Mr. Mercer? Whom seem to be conspicuously silent. I'm self-conscious about my ears because one is an inch lower than the other. You do not feel a day over 50, but that's because I am with a hot 47-year-old. You go, boy. I know. I don't date anything but 19-year-olds, which is why I'm single. But man, if I got some stories that I can't talk about on the podcast. I mean, I could, but that would alienate half of my audience. Oops. I'm 47. That makes her 47. We're the same age. Or maybe I'm 45. Maybe I lost count. Hell, I don't know. Thought I was 47. How old am I? I was born in 74 in December. That means you have to add a year. Somebody that's better at math than me do that trick. 2 years older. You were thinking April was 2 years older? Is that what you're saying? I'm 46. Okay. I'm not quite I'm turning 47. Nope, we're about the same age, I think. No, she was born in 75, so you're a year younger than me. Okay. All right. I thought we were the same age. I thought I was born in December, you were born in April. But I guess it was a year apart. There you go. Rock on, Big Daddy. Call you Big Daddy from now on. Yep. I think my mom was 23 when I was born. I think. I'm not sure. Sounds right. I'm ancient. I feel ancient. I'm not ancient, but I feel ancient. I'm 46 going on 80. They call him boss everywhere. I bet. The reason I feel ancient is because I started so early. By the time most people were starting their lives, I'd already lived a full life. And most people think I'm bullshitting when I talk to them because they think I'm making stories up, but it ain't. It's true. Yeah, I can back up everything I say. Right? You see, I grew up around construction workers and bikers, and they had this way of talking to you like you had to be a man to live in this world. And so my very first inkling was to quit school and get a job because I needed to be a man. I was like 11 when that happened. I started driving at 12, and so I've had a car ever since. Things were different back then. My son is just about to turn 15, and he's just starting to think for himself. Things are just starting to percolate, mentally. I was living with a woman in my own house when I was his age, and I just can't I can't make the connection. Like, how are we living in the same world? You're just still a baby. You're just starting to think for yourself. I was thinking when I was 4. I started talking when I was 10 months old. And I don't mean gaga goo goo. I mean talking like, why is the sky blue and how do you build a house and shit like that. Well, you can't ask my mama. I can't say that anymore. Ask Darlene. She remembers. I never crawled. I went straight from laying down to walking. You don't remember 4? I do. I remember bits and pieces of it. When I was 6 years old, I had that big surgery, and the anesthesia that they gave me, that was back when they put the mask on you. Now they put it in an IV and you go to sleep. It's like taking a bunch of tequila, but this was the real stuff, the scary shit. And it caused a little bit of brain damage. And so I don't remember from birth to 6 years old, but in slices. Like I'm looking at a photograph, like a book, flip the page and see an image. And I can remember the details, but mostly because it was told to me, and I remember the stories that was told that associate with the picture. But I don't have any actual memories of those times. No, not from pictures. I'm saying that's how my memory of those times are. It's like pictures. And then after 6, I have full total recall. I remember everything. And I do mean everything. Might take me a while to pull it up, but I remember it. Which is why I do things like lose lyrics and shit. You say one word and I'll have the whole song in my head, but if before that I can't even remember how it goes because it gets lost in the noise. You know those pens that have 4 inks in them, red, blue, green, and yellow, and you can push the little button down and a different little nozzle will come out? You know which ones I'm talking about? And if you grab all 4 of them at the same time and pull them down, they'll make like all 4 of them must poke out and you can scribble in all 4 colors. You remember those? If you take one of those pens and extend all 4 colors and then get 5 of those pens and put them together with a rubber band and then with a sheet of paper for a solid hour, furiously scribble as fast and as hard as you can go in every direction without stopping, without taking any concept of where you're going, just in every direction. At the end of that hour, lift your hand up and look at that piece of paper, and that will give you a glimpse of how my brain works on a daily basis, what's going on in there. So it's amazing that I can even speak to you because I probably should be catatonic most of the time. But that's what's going on. That's behind the curtain. Fun times, let me tell you. I'm OCD. I'm a curmudgeon. I hear things. I hear voices, but they all speak in Spanish, and I have no idea what they're saying. That's a good one. That's my favorite one. It's not scary at all. It's just busy. I trail off from time to time. I used to build castles in my head for to pass the time. Like when I was put to bed, and I don't sleep very well. And when I do sleep, I crash. I don't like have a regiment. My circadian clock is a pendulum, a slow one. So there's no going to bed at 9 o'clock and getting up at 5 a.m. That doesn't happen. So I lay there and stare at the ceiling and toss and turn and thrash until I pass out. Or not, until it's time to get up. That's the high quality and no sleep. High octane, but low quality. Anyway, in order to make myself get through the night, when I was a kid, I started building castles one brick at a time, and I could remember where every brick was. I can't do that now, but when I was a kid, I could do that. My mind was fast enough that I could do that. Then I started playing solitary in my head, and I could get about 17 cards in before my brain started giving me the card I needed every time. So that's kind of tricky. Hypertension, yeah. It's something. I'm hyperkinetic. I think that's the word. I also absorb other people's energy. When you get around me, you get tired. And I get jazzed. I don't know how that works either, but it seems to. I can see people's eyes glassing over at a certain point. It's kind of funny. I'll get to talking, and they'll be with me. And then all of a sudden, I can see them just giving up, tapping out. You've noticed that? Sorry. What can I do? That's why I knew I had a face for radio. Yeah, back in the day, yeah. Do you? Some of us are meant to do that. And I'm glad that there's people like you out there that can. Because people like me couldn't survive without people like you. There are, and this is a thing that my stepdad never understood, there are more than one kind of person in the world. There are builders. There are those who get up and do. There's also those who think. There are those who toil, and there are those who long suffer. I'm a long sufferer by trade. When I grieve long and hard, and it never stops. When I love so deep it drives me crazy. That sort of thing. And most of the time, I'm lost in thought. And I can spend 3 days and never move a muscle and just be lost in thought. And then when I come to it, I don't know that any time has passed. Why didn't you ever try to make him understand? I did. We fought constantly. Most of that y'all saw is me being a bad kid and him being a mean daddy. But we always butt heads and argued constantly. And he hated my guts most of the time. We never were simpatico, ever. I tried to be a good son. I tried to make him proud of me and work and, do all the things he wanted me to do, even though it was totally against my character and I probably should have been learning something somewhere. Well, according to him, I was. You've heard him talk about me. Do you believe everything he said? There's a lot of people that did. I know that he's told you things about me. I know you never saw it. You never saw me do that. But I do know that he talked a lot of trash about me to a lot of people. I lost a lot of friends over it. And lost a lot of respect over it because they believed him, because they were always in his pocket and they always talked about him like he was a saint. And they never seemed to see what he did to me. If I could have dressed up as a woman, he would have listened to me. I doubt it. He'd have probably beat me. Just a normal, yeah, well, that normal grumble destroyed most of my life. I hope you understand that. Because it was always directed at me. No, he didn't. Well, at least, yes, we're talking about Fritz. He sure talked to a lot of other people about me. Said all kinds of bad things. Talked about me like I was the most lazy, inconsiderate piece of trash that ever walked the face of the earth. Yep, snide remarks, lots of them. And when you know him and think highly of him, you take his word for it, and you think I'm that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. Never have been. I'm not lazy. I'm not inconsiderate. I'm not shallow. I'm not selfish. I'm none of those things. But he always made me feel that way, and he always told people that about me. And I was good for nothing, and I wouldn't ever do anything, and, all that stuff. Sooner or later, you either start believing it or you start holding a grudge. Right. And it was mostly drunk talk. But if you didn't know that, if you took him at his word, which most people did, you believed him. You understood because you saw me when he wasn't there. But most people didn't. I mean, I've lost lots of friends over this. This isn't a one-time thing. This has happened most of my life. And I didn't even know about it for a while. I actually caught him talking trash about me to my grandpa, whom I idolized at the time. I used to think very highly of Marvin Stapleton. I thought of him as the toughest man I ever knew, and I loved him dearly until I caught him and my dad talking trash about me. I walked up in the dark, and they were out in the back, and they didn't know I was there, and I sat and listened for a few minutes, and you want to talk about heartbroken. I was heartbroken, but I walked away not feeling the same way that I used to. Because they were just having a good old time at my expense. Welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen, of the dark and depraved, the man of mystery, intrigue and wonder, and lots of depression, and some cocaine. It's not sad, it's just the way it was. Yeah, he trash talked a lot of people, but I didn't see it at first because I idolized him, He was the first man I ever went to work with, so I kind of felt a kinship, I knew he wasn't my real grandpa, but I felt like he was, And your mama did the same thing to me because I was Larry Johnson's son, and she didn't like that. Yeah, he did like the gossip. They both did. Here's what you should know about me. I am abjectly lazy. I have a lazy streak. But if I want to do something, if I believe in something, I will stop at nothing, hell or high water. I'll work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 15, 20 hours a day, until it's done. But if I don't care about it, there's nothing in the world that will make me do it or even think about it. I'll walk right by a trash can and never see it because it doesn't enter my mind. But not one speck of my guitar, you could walk up to it and touch it while I was away, and I would know when I got home that you touched my guitar because I'm a I'm in tuned with it. It's part of me. I know if it's been touched. What did she do? Oh yeah, she didn't like Larry. That's what she did. She didn't like me because I was Larry's son. The biggest thing she did was abandon me on my wedding day. She was supposed to officiate the wedding and she didn't show up. We had to scramble for the last minute to get a replacement. She didn't tell anybody. The whole time she promised to do it and then wouldn't. Which I never understood, but that's the way it was. I'm passionate. Very. I'm artistic. I don't think inside the box. I'm an outside the box thinker, which means that normal everyday things never occur to me. But I might see something that you never even thought of, some little thing that just makes perfect sense in the moment, but just would not occur to anybody else. I see patterns. She sent Lola to do it. No, she did not. My mom found Lola and had her come do it. She just didn't show up and didn't tell anybody, according to the way I understand it. I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding of how it went down. I didn't know till I was standing there at the altar that she wasn't coming. Put it that way. I was trying to remember that lady's name, Lola. I'm glad you knew it. I'm the hardest worker you will ever know. I work tirelessly and endlessly, but only at things that I believe in, things that I'm passionate about. I could barely lift a finger for something I could care less about. So in that vein, yes, I'm lazy. But I can also work hard. I'm easy to please, and I don't need anything. So money doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, it literally doesn't mean anything to me at all. The only thing it is a tool to eat and pay bills. But I don't seek it like other people do. And the reason for that is because I learned at an early age that money was the root. The love of money was the root of all evil. You could have. I didn't know that. I would have asked you. Anyway, that's enough sharing for me for one day. I think I've told you all the secrets of my soul I want you to know about for now. Gotta save some for the next podcast. Next time I get in a wily mood and want to share. You're not anymore a notary? I've considered becoming one because there's a certain job you can get where you have to transcribe, like, say if a mediator has a meeting between two people and they tape record it, and then a notary has to come in and transcribe it for the records of the court, and there's not a lot of competition for that job. There's only one or two people that do it. So I've been considering it because that's right up my alley of type of stuff I would do. It's not necessarily in broadcast, but it is clerical in nature. Well, you are certainly welcome, and I enjoy doing it. I just want somebody to know me. You can do it. It's so easy to be done. I can do it. It's so easy to be one. Oh, notary? Yeah. I got you. I've thought about it. I hadn't decided whether or not I want to do it, but I've thought about it. Couldn't hurt. You'd be surprised at the things that I already am. Did you know that I was a 33rd degree Mason? Did you know that I was knighted? Did you know that I was a volunteer fireman? Did you know that I was an honorary skinhead? Did you know that I was a founding member of the Country Music Association Polk County chapter? Musicians Guild, not the CMA thing, but the Musicians Guild part. I was there when that was conceived. I don't even know if it's still going on, but it was going on pretty big when I was there. Did you know that I dabbled in the occult? I didn't know about the night. Didn't know about the fireman, the skinhead, the founding member. Didn't know that. Yes, ma'am. It's all true. It's not there anymore. I didn't figure it would last forever, but for a while there, it was like a kind of like a union type deal. They had a musicians guild that's formed, and I was there when it was formed. So therefore, I was one of the members, the first members. And what their goal was to get all the musicians together and be in a union so that they could control the charge that they charged places and put bands in certain places. You know what I mean? Union stuff. And it was pretty big for a while, but I lost interest and never showed up again. Too political for my blood. And as far as the honorary skinhead thing, in Florida there was a thing called SHARP, Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice. You remember that? They dubbed me an honorary skinhead. I was the only long-haired skinhead in the world. Because I'm curious and know thy enemy, sort of thing. Nope, I missed it. And the normal fun days when we look forward to Fridays on the weekends having fun. And boy, we sure did. Yep, we sure did. No, you know, in my pursuit of understanding the Bible, sometimes you have to go down dark roads to make a full understanding of what you're looking at. And the devil is a very real thing. And so is God. And there's light and darkness in all things. And the only way to appreciate light is to understand darkness. And I took it upon myself to understand these things because I wanted to know the reality of what I was looking at. Because the religious stuff never floated my boat, never blew my skirt up. I've always felt phony in churches. I always felt like a fraud. And I always felt like they were putting on a show because I'm an entertainer and I know how to put on a show. And that's what they're doing. And I didn't think that jived with what I read in the Bible. And I'm right about that. You know who never founded a church? Jesus Christ. Matter of fact, he went into churches and flipped over money tables, things like that. Hit people with whips. Was very unhappy about it even then. And so that drove me to understand what was going on there. Why would he do that? But these people are just selling birds and trying to make a living. Why would that piss him off? Because there's more to it than that. And so the deeper I dug, the further down that hole I went. And so I've dabbled in the occult to understand it. I've come away with some revelations, such as there's no such thing as ghosts. I didn't always believe that, but now I do. That's not to say that there's not a such thing as an evil spirit or a familiar spirit, but they're not in every corner and haunting houses and shit. It's a different thing. It's just it's a fallen angel that doesn't have a body. That's all it is. That's the simplest way to put it. But there are no ghosts. When you die, you go back to heaven where you came from, or wherever God puts you. I don't know that it's heaven. It doesn't actually tell you in the Bible where you go. It just says you go back to the Father. He might put you in a box and stick you on a shelf. I don't know. I don't think you're conscious until the judgment day. So I don't think you're physically there. I think your soul is, but I don't think you have any knowledge of it. I think when you close your eyes in death, you wake up in heaven at Judgment Day. I don't think any time passes for you, because you're going to be dead a whole lot longer than you've ever been alive. Believe that. And some of that kind of stuff is hard to wrap your head around unless you can see it from both sides. And I don't recommend that for everybody, because going down that rabbit hole has its costs also. That can damage you. Ignorance really is bliss. You really don't want to know everything, because the more you know, the harder it is to hold on to your faith that you can believe. The more I learn, the more knowledge I accrue, the harder it is to grasp faith, because I see it on a practical level. And a lot of it seems like bullshit. It is. Ignorance really is bliss. You want to be like a child. The Bible tells you to stay like a child. The reason for that is because supreme knowledge leaves you in a very dark place, because then you truly understand the motivations for everything. And it isn't always pretty. Just the knowledge that God created the devil to do what he does would blow your mind if you truly understood the concept, which you probably do, but I'm just saying, most people don't. Most people don't see it that way. They see the devil as the opposite of God, but yet the devil can jump up and go into heaven and walk to and fro and walk right into the throne room, and nobody stops him, and nobody acts like he shouldn't be there. Why is that? That always bothered me. Well, now I know why. Because he should be there. He's one of God's creations. So, the ultimate concept is God created the darkness so that the light would matter. Lightning up 2-0 with 3 minutes left on the clock. Go dogs. I mean, Bolts. Gag you? Are you that kind of girl? Are you into that? Want a little slobber on your nose? Oh, what just happened? It took a bad turn. Yeah, I ain't far from it myself. I'm just hanging on. Yeah, you're related to me. I know there's a little freak in you. On a Sunday, I was arrested. On a Monday, they put me in the jail. On Tuesday, they put the chains around me. And on Wednesday, they about to drag me down. If I only knew the words. I made that right off the top of my head. I got stripes, stripes upon my shoulders. I got stripes, stripes on my jeans. I got stripes, stripes on my shoulders. And these chains, they're about to drag me down. I think that's the same song, isn't it? Oh. All right. That's my 2 hours. I love you guys, and I'm going to turn it in and go to bed and see if I can't inspect the back of my eyelids for holes. Good lullaby. Yellow Submarine. Nope. That's a stupid, stupid song. It's to the point of ridiculousness. Anyway, as I was saying, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell icon so you get notifications when I'm going to be here. Follow one of the links in the description below. Buy yourself a t-shirt, a cap, or a ball. Whatever you want to get, it's fine. Or support me at Jake Johnson Band. PayPal.me/Jake Johnson Band. See, my brain just went right out the window. I've said that 1,000 times and I can't even remember what I'm saying. I love you. Peace out. I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great night.